Hey, what's up guys? This is week 5 of my business updates and Amazon news. So the past 7 days has been crazy busy for my company. On Friday last week, I uploaded a YouTube short that showed how busy I was at the end of the week. I had 3 pallets come in the early afternoon, where shortly after I recorded that video. And then after the video was done and uploaded, yet another pallet came in the mail in the late afternoon. And so it wasn't much of a happy Friday for me, as I spent the entire day, really working my ass off and prepping all of those products for outbound shipment. And I think that I was a bit overwhelmed by the quantity of goods coming in. As I mentioned in the previous week, I had spent $57,000 in the previous 30 months in inventory. And I guess maybe it was hard for me to sort of conceptualize what that would look like in the quantity of goods coming into the warehouse. So I definitely wasn't prepared for that many items to come in such a short window of time. Sales over the past week have been really good for me. This is the first maybe 1 or 2 weeks where I've noticed that my wholesale sales have consistently been doing better than my private label sales. And obviously that makes a lot of sense because I don't really spend much time at all on my private label products, and I'm not continually sourcing new products for the private label side of business. But it also is really encouraging to see that all of the sort of steadfast work that I've been doing on the wholesale side culminate into accounting for more revenue than my private label business. I'm trying to aim for about $200 to $300 in profit per day. And that's pretty much what I've been averaging for the past few weeks. There are days when my profit is gonna be in the $400 to $600 range. And there are days where my profit is in the $150 to $200 range. But collectively, I've definitely been hitting my goals. And the reason why I'm aiming for $200 to $300 per day in profit is because $300 per day times 365 days in a year equals $109,500, which takes us right above the 6-figure dollar mark in net profit. And the reason why I'm aiming for $100,000 in net profit is because it's important for me to benchmark that against what I think that I could be making if I were in the workforce, working a regular 9-to-5 job here in San Francisco. So salaries here in San Francisco are typically pretty high. Depending on what you do, software engineers working at Apple and Google can easily make from $300,000 to $500,000 per year. Obviously, I'm not a software engineer. My skill set would be more in the logistics, operations, and marketing department. And the salary for people in that career tend to be around the low 6 figures, maybe $150,000 per year. But if I'm slowly climbing and using $109,500 as the starting point and then climbing from there, I think I will be able to eclipse what I could be earning from a regular tech job pretty quickly. Recently, I've been getting asked a lot of questions about how I go about opening up new accounts and creating brand direct partnerships and relationships. In my network, the wholesale network, I won a brand direct PO competition, which I talked about in my week 1 updates. And so here's kind of just the basic rundown of how I navigate the relationships. So the first thing I do is I make sure that I definitely don't bring up Amazon exclusivity anywhere in the first few months of that relationship. When I'm contacting brands, whether it's through calling them on the phone or meeting them on the trade show floor, I'm definitely not bringing up exclusivity at all. All I'm doing is coming to them as a distributor or as a retailer, asking them what the process is like in account creation. And then I ask for general details about shipping times, lead times. I ask about tiered pricing and discounts. I talk about free shipping thresholds. I ask where their warehouse is located so I can better estimate delivery times and shipping speeds. And then we kind of just go about placing our first POs. And that's kind of where most of the brand direct accounts I have right now are at. But what I'm looking to do in the next few months is after maybe 3 to 6 months of consistently growing purchase orders and 3 to 6 months of building a strong relationship with my reps at these companies, then I want to start asking them and picking their brain about what it would take to be an exclusive seller of their products on Amazon. And honestly, I think a lot of this is just a relationship-based game. And the best way to build that relationship is, being a consistent buyer of their products, having increasingly bigger POs over time, and then just overall being a friendly person that they recognize, that they know, that when they see your email come in their inbox, it's one that's going to bring them hopefully money as they make a commission off of the purchase order volume that you are placing with them. And if you can check off all those boxes, that usually sets you up in a perfect place where they'd be willing to go out of their way to figure out how to make that connection happen and put you in contact with the correct person who you can speak to about exclusivity. I'm also conscientious that time of the year is also very important. As we're heading into Q4, if you are planning on having these conversations, in my own personal experience, I've seen that it works the best not during the thicket of the Christmas season. So you probably have up until end of October to kind of have these conversations, but once November hits and people are in holiday mode, it's so hard to get people on the phone and to get people answering their emails. Nobody is really thinking about the future and future growth at the end of the year. Everyone is just in holiday mode, wanting to get off work and going back to their families. And the last thing I want to talk about before we go into Amazon news is how my company is preparing for Q4 this year. So last week, I gave you guys the time frame for the deadlines of shipping in inventory into Amazon FBA warehouses to qualify for sales on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, which again are the biggest shopping days in the entire year, and dates that you definitely need to be focused in on for maximum sales. Just a quick recap here, if you are shipping in inventory through minimal shipment splits, that deadline is October 20th. And if you are shipping in through optimized split shipments, the deadline is October 30th. What my company is doing is that my employees and I, we're coming to the table together, and we are, first of all, identifying the products that we want to ramp up on that have an influx in sales during the holiday season. The second thing we're doing is after we've identified those products, we're then going to do the math and see what volume we should purchase of those products. And the way that we identify volume is based on the Keepa chart of previous years, plus our actual sales of that product from the previous years as well. Once we've identified the products and we've identified the quantity and volume that we're going to buy, then we will place POs for these products. And for us, we have a deadline of September 1st. That is the date when we're going to be sending out all the POs to all of our brands, all of our distributors to begin acquiring that inventory. And this means that we have roughly, a month and a half to receive all the inventory before we need to send it out to Amazon FBA warehouses to meet those October 20th and October 30th deadlines. In addition to that, this is the first year that my company is planning on selling multiple products through Amazon FBA. And with multiple products, there are actually an additional time frame that you need to be aware of. According to Amazon's website, the fulfillment centers will only be accepting multiple products from October 16 to April 14. So keep that in mind. The earliest time you can send in multiple products to Amazon is October 16, but the deadline for qualification for Black Friday, Cyber Monday is October 20th and October 30th. So that means depending on how you split your shipments into Amazon, you have between 4 and 14 days to get those goods from your warehouse to Amazon, all prepped and all labeled and ready to go. So that week is probably going to be a pretty busy week for us. We're looking to order a few thousand units of multiple products, getting ready for the peak sales in Q4. And having these deadlines in mind is crucial to make sure that your operations go without any hiccups. That pretty much wraps up all the updates I have for this week. I am going to be launching a video tutorial showing one of my biggest hacks that has helped me grow revenue for products over $10,000 in revenue per month. It's one of the best hacks that I've discovered during my time on Amazon. and it's helped my business tremendously, put extra money in my pocket, and I'm positive it'll have a great impact on your business as well. So stay tuned for that video coming out hopefully on Monday. And finally, to kind of wrap up this video, we typically end with some industry news. This week, I want to bring to you just one thing that I saw kind of being shared around the space. And it is from a seller who got their account from Amazon taken down because of the way that they were talking to Amazon seller support. So in this screenshot here, it says, "We discovered that you had inappropriate or unprofessional contacts with members of the Amazon community. This is against our selling policies and seller code of conduct. As a result, you will no longer be allowed to sell on Amazon.com, and your listings have been removed from our site." Yikes. At the bottom of the screenshot, it quotes the specific wording that the seller used, and apparently he called seller support worthless losers. He called them monkeys. He said, "You are morons." And then he said, "Amazon employs evil people." Look, I get it. You know, you and I might be thinking these things of seller support in our heads, but I think it's really important to have the discipline to not write it out and send it to them, because things like this can definitely happen. This is actually the first case I've ever heard of someone getting their account deleted for the way that they were talking to seller support, and that's actually really important to keep in mind. We all know how frustrating it is working with seller support. They don't necessarily always read your emails thoroughly. You have to explain things again and again because a different rep will be responding to you. Sometimes they don't have apparently the capacity to understand what you're saying, and so it just creates this lengthy headache going back and forth with seller support just to get one simple thing done. I get it, emotions can definitely run high and we have the urge to want to cuss them out, but based on this screenshot here, I would strongly suggest you to fight that urge. You know, I've been selling on Amazon for 7-8 years now. I've had so much frustration with seller support, but I've never actually gone to the lengths of cussing them out. But here are some things that I do say to them that I've found a lot of good success with. I'll say things along the lines of, "It's clear to me that you are not reading my messages. You continually respond to me with the same copy and paste response that is not helping me with this issue. Please escalate this case to the internal team for further review. Thank you." I've also said things like, "You continually tell me steps on what I should be doing, and I continually tell you that these steps are not working. Please stop telling me to do the same thing over and over again when they are not working. I would like to request that this case get escalated to the internal team for further review. Thank you." And then finally, I've also said things like, "It's apparent to me that you are using templated responses and are copying and pasting them in reply to my messages. What you are saying has nothing to do with what I have a problem with. If you are unwilling to help me with this case in a serious matter, please escalate this to the internal team. Thank you." Emails like that have really helped me get past the BS of back and forth with these support reps who don't really move the needle in helping you. As you can see, my tonality is extremely serious. I'm showing frustration. I'm showing them that they are incompetent in helping me in adequately addressing my issue. But what I'm not doing is name calling them. So if you are having frustrations with Amazon, please don't resort to name calling, else your account might get suspended. But you're welcome to take some of my examples that I shared earlier, and hopefully it'll help you escalate the case and get the assistance you need with seller support. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video for week 5, and hope to see you guys next week. Have a great rest of your week.